Seasons, greetings, and salutations. We're live here in Memphis, Tennessee, getting close to the new year, celebrating the year that is gone by. It's time for your 2021 Memphis Year in Review. I am your host and your hero, Kevin Sarita, joined alongside, as always, for at least 5 years. We always say at least 5 years. We don't know how many years we've been doing.
It's going to be at least 5 years forever.
It's going to always be at least 5 years. Holly Whitfield from the I Love Memphis blog is here, and we are going to take a look back at the year that was 2021 in the 901. What a year, Holly.
What a year. It was a weird year. 2020 was a dumpster fire, and 2021 was weird. I'm glad we're going to talk about it, though, because we can process, we can think about the good, we can think about the weird.
It was a very eventful year here.
It was.
A very eventful year in Memphis. It's every year around this time for at least 5 years. we take a minute and really look what is open, what is closed in Memphis, what were the big events, what were the big moments. And for all the years that we've been doing this, though, we have never declared a Memphian of the year. Right.
This is a new idea. I like it, though.
And so for the first time ever, the official Sarita Whitfield Memphian of the Year award is going to be presented right here, right now. A very deserving winner, right?
Yes, it's going to be kind of like the Time Person of the Year, but better.
Oh, you're saying our person of the year possibly went to space this year. Did we have a Memphian? No, Memphians went to space after this whole year. All these people went to space. One Memphian went to space.
Memphian went to space.
That is true.
Yeah. I still think that the Memphian of the Year that we've talked about is better than Time's Memphian of the Year or Person of the Year. So I think people will understand once we start talking about it, for sure.
Yeah, we'd had a Memphian that went to space from St. Jude, and she landed back on Earth, and a few weeks later actually won a trivia night at Rail Garden. We were out there doing shit trivia. Her team won. So everybody's looking for a way to win trivia. Just go to space first. That's always a good strategy. Okay. Memphian of the Year. We're so excited to announce the Memphian of the Year, but I think it's without question this award. Yes, this Memphian also has maybe traveled to space, and we don't know it. The Memphian of the Year is Memphis Water. The Memphis Water is the first ever.
It's what's in my mug.
Oh, there you go. I got some right here next to me as well. You might have some listening wherever you are. Of course, we are streaming all over the internet on the Sarita Entertainment platforms. And also, you may be listening to this if you subscribe to the old podcast that me and Holly did back in the day. It's also up on that feed as well. So you could be hearing or watching this from a lot of different places. We are live here tonight on a Monday night, December 20th, just a few days before Christmas. So anything that happens in the next 11 days, we're not going to be able to cover on this. But we will next week be previewing what will happen next year in 2022. Our Memphian of the Year is Memphis Water, and here is why. So if you look at the timeline of 2021, February, so much happened.
And so much happened in February.
So much happened in February. The freeze being the big one, where if we were not already truly appreciative of the water that we have here in Memphis and how delicious and clean it is, that boil water advisory went into effect. And water was on front of our minds for days and days and days in Memphis, just waiting for our water to get the green light so we could start using water from our city. Oh my goodness! How did you get through that time?
So I had about 4 days worth of water that I had filled various jugs and containers and things from my faucet because I wanted to have that delicious Memphis aquifer water. And I had a few bottles and stuff too. 4 days was not enough. I ran out of water on after day 4, and my pipes froze, and I did not have water for 6 days. I mean, there was this boiling of the snow. That's not really like what you want to do for your drinking water. I don't know what your experience was like, but once I got past that 4-day mark, and this is just a testament to like the Memphis community, I actually was like, okay, well, I thought I prepared. We've never had anything like this in Memphis. I'm not going to beat myself up about it, but I decided to walk around Cooper Young where I live, and I stopped at Farm and Fig and was like, do you guys have some bottles of water? City Market had long been closed. They were done. They were iced in. So I stopped in Farm and Fig, and he was like, we have like 1 bottle. And I was like, can I buy it? And he was like, you know what? And he just went and filled up a bunch of his containers, recycled containers of water, and just was like, here, just take it. And so that got me through my last day. I was never in danger. I was never in trouble, but it definitely was a wake up call of like, this is what can happen in the South. And I hope that doesn't happen again, but I will be stocking up on more than 4 days just in case. And so water was a big deal for me in February.
But you had to boil to bathe, right? I mean, that was the main thing. You constantly had a pan on your or pot on your stove boiling that water. And I remember, it hit on social media. This was one of the advisory was going to happen, and it was like, well, the mayors, they're about to MLGW, the mayor, whoever was going to announce that you're going to have to start boiling your water here at a press conference, like at 4 or 5 in the. And I'm thinking like, first reaction is, all right, well, let's fill everything up before we have to start boiling our water. But then you're like, well, wait a minute. They know now that we need to boil our water later.
Yeah.
This is probably not that safe to drink. Or is it? I don't know. It was, anyway. So
it's probably just a precaution, but, snow soup and boiling your water from your faucet can only get you so far. So shout out to the water.
That was February. February during what was a historic that snowstorm that we had. Memphis tied the record for longest consecutive days with the temperature below freezing in the history of the city. Previous records go back to 1940, 1899, 9 straight days below freezing that forced us to start boiling the water that is always so good. But that was just the start of it. We had no idea that the water would be so much of our focus of a year where, following year there was all about COVID-19. But this year, so February was boiling the water.
Yes.
Then comes the story throughout the entire year is about that possible Byhalia pipeline. And this is getting national attention. You got big time celebrities tweeting about it, trying to stop it. And eventually it finally happened in June that the Byhalia pipeline got city. It was hard. It was not hard to follow, but who was making the final decision? Anyway, they pulled out of the folks behind the pipeline in June and decided that it was at least not going to happen right now due to what was regulations locally and really a grassroots effort to try to protect that water that we were reminded of how valuable it was in February. So we went to that, and then just recently in November, that was not the end of Memphis water being on such a high spotlight here in the nation, because the Memphis water went to the Supreme Court, all the way to the Supreme Court in November, and the Supreme Court ruled that we can in fact drink the water that is underground that we are currently drinking and using. Memphis defeating the state of Mississippi in the Supreme Court for the right to use the water that we use. So big year for Memphis water. Without question, Memphian of the year, the water from boiling it to stopping the pipeline to stopping Mississippi from trying to stop us from drinking it. But maybe Mississippi had something to do with the snowstorm. I don't know. But what a year for Memphis water.
And shout out to all the activists and the people who went out and protested and did all the hard legal work, and the Protect Our Aquifer nonprofit that kind of really started grassroots. And then this year they became super official and kind of consolidating all of the efforts to protect that aquifer. It's deep underground. It's a sands aquifer. The water filters through, and that's what makes it so delicious. and we should not threaten that in any way. So shout out to those activists and shout out to the water. Congratulations. You are the Memphian of the year.
Congratulations. We won't take you for granted again. It's been a year that we lost you for a minute. We almost lost you for a longer time in so many different ways. And so congratulations, yes, to Memphis Water. Before we're about to do a recap, a look back at the entire year here in Memphis. But before we do that, I also have another award I want to give away, Holly. This is for Picture of the Year. We've never done this either, but since we're live streaming on the internet, people can watch us talk about the year in review.
Yes.
We got the Picture of the Year. I think is an undisputed winner here. And here's our Picture of the Year for 2021. If you're listening to the podcast stream, Holly will help guide you through this photo here.
Wow. Okay. This is a loaded photo. Absolutely seeing right away why it is the Memphis Picture of the Year. Well, not only do you have two very important Memphians, we've got Corby Trotz, we've got Al Capone. Honestly, if it was just the two of them together, kind of worlds colliding, that would be very Memphis on its own. But we've got Corby Trotz wearing the Ponchos logo on his t-shirt. I don't know what hat that is that Al Capone is wearing. It kind of looks like it might be Redbirds related, but it's got an M on it. He's doing the M sign. And then this photo was taken, I believe Kevin confirmed this for me, but it's Rail Garden, but I think it was on 901 Day at the Lucero show.
So they had a Lucero concert at Rail Garden, 901 Day. Corby Trotz taking a picture with Al Capone. Corby Trotz wearing a Ponchos themed Memphis shirt. It doesn't get more Memphis than this. And then on top of that, you got Craig Brewer commenting on the Instagram photo.
That really seals the deal. I mean, it's already good as it is, but with Craig Brewer making his comment, this is a very Memphis photo. Someone's telling us that's a Florida Marlins hat. Sorry, I reject that. That's not the Florida Marlins in my reality. It looks a little too much like the M from the Redbirds from here. You're probably right. I'm certain you're right. But either way, I love the M and the M. And
it's the Miami Marlins, yeah. So the hat. So we're saying if Al was prepared, if he knew this was going to happen,
yes,
I think he would have been a little bit more prepared. He probably would have a local beer in his hand and not that PBR.
Sure.
And would be wearing a Memphis hat, but he's repping the M. Like if you wear a hat with an M on it in Memphis, it stands for Memphis, according to me. So congratulations, Al Capone, Corby Trotz, for the photo of the year.
They look like they're having a good time too, so that's even better.
They're having a great time. All right, let's get to it. Let's take a look back because now we know the Memphian of the Year is Memphis Water, and we've got the Photo of the Year award being sent to Al Capone and Corby Trotz. I don't know how to get them the award, but I will call what is it 683-7000 and then
go from there. Yeah.
Yes. But what was the moment of the year? I don't know. Holly, you got a timeline you're going to take us back because I know you're working on a post for the I Love Memphis blog, ilovememphisblog.com, that will also take folks back on a journey backwards here as we wax nostalgic about this year. And so let's start back. We'll start in January and try to figure out what was the moment of the year here in 2021 in Memphis.
Yes. So I went through all my notes and all my records and all my screenshots and everything and tried to pick out the moments that resonated with me, resonated with Memphis, that were really fun. And we'll just have to kind of wade through them and figure out what we think is the top moment, most Memphis moment. But January started off strong. Of course, there was the Biden inauguration. And during that live TV event, we had a amazing music video aired on national TV featuring Justin Timberlake, and it was filmed at Stax. at the Stax Museum of Soul Music in South Memphis. And that was amazing. I think to this day, that's still the most popular Facebook post that I put on the I Love Memphis page for the whole year, was that inauguration video. That was an extremely Memphis moment, and it was shared with the world. It was very cool. It was a really cool video too, and a beautiful song. So win across the board for Memphis.
Yeah, that was a pretty great moment for sure in January. I remember what people. I'm trying to go back and remember watching. I remember I made sure to watch because there was the rumors about it, and they had filmed it in Memphis a couple days before, and they do this like celebration, and it was very well done, and it's just good. Like, remember, if we go back to January, we're all like craving live music, live anything, right? Mm-hmm. And to be able to see that. That was cool, but was it the moment of the year? I don't know, because I mean, again, it was a political event, and that some folks would probably argue that was moment, but it made Memphis look good on worldwide television. So,
and that's what's important here. But yeah, exactly. One more from the inauguration, and we won't go into too much detail here on this live stream, but during in the blog post, I am going to include some examples of how the Bernie Sanders mitten meme, which if you saw, Bernie Sanders is sitting like this with his mittens at the inauguration. That meme went viral everywhere, and the Memphis versions of that, where Bernie has been placed in all kinds of really great Memphis situations, was absolutely hilarious. So I will be linking to some of those Bernie Sanders mittens memes, Memphis style, in the blog post for this. So that was how the inauguration affected us.
Well, the memes, the Bernie Sanders memes felt like there's some moments that have happened since the pandemic started that are just very like only during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. And to me, like Tiger King, the Bernie Sanders mitten memes, like they're in that category of like, they entertained us. We all watched it. We all saw it. And we're looking back and it's like, why? Why was it so, but it's signs of the times, you know, we needed that entertainment, and it was rolling. So, but then, so January also, I'm not mistaken, is that when people really started, could start getting the vaccine here in Memphis?
Yeah. I mean, I think that certain people and certain groups were able to start getting that vaccine in January. And so that kind of started a whole turning point. And we're going to talk about how this wave goes throughout the year of things reopening and things changing, and then up and down. You know, we're on the wave. But January was really when it started. I think I got my first shot later on in late February because I was volunteering at the site. But for most people, it was later on in March. But I think for first responders and other people, and healthcare workers, it was in January.
Wait, so you volunteered at what location were you volunteering?
At the Pipkin building. Early
on. Shots?
I was not giving shots. I'm not qualified to do that. I was doing paperwork and helping that process go smoothly. So that was a very interesting day to be part of the start of the vaccination process. And if you volunteered, you were able to also, if they had anything left over at the end of the day, you could get a shot. So that's how I did that.
If we're looking for moments of the year, definitely getting your vaccine, whether you got it in January, February, March, April, or if you're getting it this week,
yes,
like a lot of the Memphis Tigers are. Anytime you get it, that should be your personal it's a big moment. I've gotten 3 of them. I've drove through the Pipkin building 3 times, and now at this point here in December 2021, it's done, right? They just shut down. They just gave their last shot at the Pipkin, which makes me very, very sad. January really started, like, I think more Memphians went to the Pipkin building this year than ever before. And like, we're talking that like 20 years of the Mid-South Fair, and to the amount of people who went to the Pipkin building this year. Wish it was more, but it was a good amount of folks. So
yeah,
to me, the vaccine and the setup when you went to that Pipkin and you were volunteering there, amazing. Like, kudos to you and all of the volunteers and everybody who set that up. It was I know it had a rough start. If we kind of forgot, and maybe forgot you if you were there that early on, not you, but other people, if they were there, they won't forget the long lines. But that was the demand for the vaccine. But once the ball got rolling, I mean, that was such a smooth operation, and like I want people give credit to Chick-fil-A for their quick service, but that Pipkin building, like the drive-through, that is how I want to go to all of my appointments. For anything, so I'm very sad. I just wanted it to be open up as be my doctor's office, but oh well.
Not a bad idea.
Let's move on to February. So January was a big month. So we got a new president, and Timberlake was there singing from Stax, and we're all laughing at Bernie Sanders, and we're getting our vaccine. So everything's looking up in January. Then we head into February. The Super Bowl happens. There was a Zaxby's a commercial at the Super Bowl that showed Memphis. It was like a national spot, and if you blinked, you missed it. But we were in a Super Bowl commercial for Zaxby's. I don't think that was the moment of the year, but it was something that happened in 2021.
I think I blinked for that one.
I'll send you the link.
Please do. Well, you did something very cool in February.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did. Yes, Trivia Talks.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Trivia Talks happened, but you also did something really cool. And you were tired during the Super Bowl because you were launching the new I Love Memphis website.
Yep.
That launched in February.
Yes, the big old baby. I Love Memphisblog.com. She got relaunched in February, and honestly, go check it out if you haven't seen the new design. Hopefully you have. But it had the much more robust functioning and calendar and all that good stuff. So yeah, we were busy in February. We were working up an appetite, and thankfully,
yes, there was I think a moment of something that we're going to remember, continue to reference. Memphians will talk about that happened in February outside of the snowstorm, which we talked about. Like that is the snowstorm is huge, right? The snowstorm.
Snowstorm is February, but we've talked about it. Yes.
Yeah, all the lack of power and the amount of snow and the amount of days that we had snow. Like we can't just forget how many days we were living in a winter wonderland in February. But the potatoes. February is where we all started getting free mashed potatoes in the mail.
Yep.
True.
From, was it Idaho potatoes or something?
Potato.
Yeah. They found out we were eating more instant mashed potatoes than any other area of the world or something. And so they thought they would send us packs. Okay, but I have a question for you about the potatoes.
I got them, and we had them, and I think we ended up buying some actually later on. So
it worked on you. You ate them, you were like, this is not bad, and you got more. You're a lifelong Idaho instant potatoes customer.
I mean, it's good. We needed some quick potatoes. I thought it was good. Did you enjoy it? You got yours? I mean, people were waiting. They were, where are my potatoes at? They're not here. And then I guess I got mine. The timeline is all mixed up, but I didn't have to wait too long to get them in the mail. And they send you mashed potatoes in the mail. This is
I still think I have mine. I definitely didn't eat them.
They're not expired. I'm sure they're not expired.
No, they're never going to expire. I could bring them to space in 20 years and eat them on the moon. But yeah, I think I still have mine somewhere. I wish that I had grabbed them for this, but I didn't.
You're gonna keep them as a Memphis memento of 2021 or the pandemic.
That's the award that we're gonna send Al Capone and Corey B. Trotz. It's gonna be.
They get some instant mashed potatoes. I believe there was a coupon. I think there was a coupon with the potatoes, of course, right? So you use that coupon. So I think that's what ended up buying some. Trying to save some money here, my business shut down during the pandemic, Holly. I had to they send me a coupon for something, I'm probably going to use it.
You act like you would not have gone for that coupon regardless.
Pandemic, yes, I would have.
Of business status.
No, that is true. So okay, so we're very eventful February. I'm trying to keep track. I'm trying to figure. So I think the potatoes were big, and of course the snowstorm, big as well. that's happening. I think so far. So we're trying to figure out the moment of the year in 2021. But let's go ahead and let's jump into March 2021.
Yes. Well, you did something that I have always enjoyed. I think you've only done it twice, but I've really enjoyed the virtual Memphis Beer Festival. That was awesome. Came back for part 2 in March. You did it in fall 2020. When we needed it, and then again in March. So bravo! I'm glad you did that. It really gave us a good way to support our local breweries and have a little fun without being too risky. So that was top of my list in March. Also, though, Ernestine and Hazel's reopened, and that wouldn't have been as big of a deal if they had just shut down for the pandemic and then reopened. But they have new owners, new management, and everyone had a lot of anxiety about what that reopening was going to be like.
And they might, because they might have, people were worried that it wouldn't feel the same. Is that what it does feel the same? You can still feel the ghost breathing down your necks?
I think you can, for the most part. It's a little bit different. It is a little bit different. But you know what? We're all a little bit different over the last few years. But yeah, I remember I actually like the new owners and managers own a couple of other restaurants downtown. And I found myself kind of camping out at some of their other spots, trying to talk to the manager just because I wanted to actually go to the source and ask him, what is it going to be like when you reopen this Memphis institution? And so I finally did that. There's a blog post about it, but they still got the soul burger. It's still delicious. The ghosts are still there for sure. Even if the place has been cleaned up and spruced up a little bit, a little rearrangement of the downstairs furniture, still a great spot. So that I remember
it's better than being closed, right? Like it's definitely better than being closed, like 100%. So you mentioned the virtual Memphis Beer Fest. It was a lot of fun. 2020, we had the first one. 2022, 2021 was this one. Will there be one in 2022? I don't know. People keep asking. Keep getting new variants. But here's the beer. So this was what was exciting about the virtual Memphis Beer Fest too, is the beer that was named by the festival goers at the first one.
Yes.
We actually made this beer. Or actually Bosco's, big shout out to Bosco's and Beale Street Brewing Company. That this is the beer. It's 901 somewhere. It was named at the first festival, then brewed and canned exclusively for Virtual Memphis Beer Fest 2. So still got
and it was great.
A can of it to go with your mashed potatoes.
We're gonna have I don't know what that's gonna be. It's gonna be a whole things we have saved.
You never know what you need in your emergency bunker. We're going to get to that. I mean, you got to have an earthquake bunker now. We'll talk about that in a minute.
We're going to get there.
So what else happened? What else? Anything happened in March that of note?
Really quickly, Mempops, our favorite local popsicle shop, one of our favorite local popsicle shops, they turned 5 in March, which was great. Bane Barbecue, if you followed that experience, that saga online, they opened their food truck starting in March. And we'll talk about this briefly later, but the Museum of Science and History, aka the Pink Palace, put up a giant dinosaur fossil statue in front of their mansion on Central Avenue. So those are the highlights from March.
Well, is that when they changed their name? They changed their name to Mosh this year?
So they were kind of going by that then, but they didn't officially announce the name change until I think later on in the year. But they did put up a big yellow dinosaur.
So the dinosaur's out there right now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I don't have that. I need to. I guess I'm keeping my eyes on the road. I'll stop by and try to see that. So the month of March, though, that's really the time as well. Like people are starting to get vaccinated. Also, the weather is starting to improve, and as we know, it's so much more fun and so much safer outside during the pandemic. So we're starting to get back outside, but things are still not totally back to normal just yet.
Right. Yep.
We're ready to jump into April?
Let's go.
All right. What happened here in April 2021? What's the biggest moment in April?
I think the biggest moment is kind of a trend that really came to fruition, which was new boutique hotels. But these hotels also cater to locals with their restaurants and their rooftop bars. Rooftop bars are a huge thing in a lot of other cities. We really hadn't had them in Memphis, but in April, the Hyatt Centric downtown opened, and they have Seamus on their ground floor, and then Beck and Call is the name of the rooftop bar, and that opened in April. And then Overton Square, Midtown, finally got a hotel. So the boutique hotel, it's called the Memphian, opened there, and their rooftop thing is called Tiger and Peacock. So we have some interesting restaurant names, but I think the point is that we have these like hangout places, like these third locations, as people say, in Memphis now. Also right by the Memphian, they painted a new, like some activists and artists in Memphis got together and painted a new Black Lives Matter mural.
And it happened in April.
And all of this happened in April. Yep. The High Tone released a hot sauce. Lots of stuff was happening in April, lots of moments. I don't know if they're the Memphis moment of the year, but people were kind of just starting to get their bearings too. I think people were like getting their second dose, and kind of just feeling it out in terms of
wait that 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But for me personally, April was a big month because it was after over a year of not doing traditional events. We were out doing trivia at the drive-in in 2020, which was so much fun. Shout out to Malcolm.
Yeah.
We actually get back out to bars and restaurants again in April, starting with trivia at Rail Garden on Wednesday nights, where we can still play on Wednesday nights. So it was exciting to get back out hosting live and doing it in a safe manner. No place outside than Rail Garden. And it's been a lot of fun this year. Like not too long after April, we started doing some new stuff, including music bingo. Holly, you've got to come out and try some music bingo, our newest game that we play every week now, where instead of numbers, we play songs, and you mark your bingo card. Lots of fun. And we also have theme bingo now, where it's instead of numbers, we got pictures. So we had Harry Potter bingo recently, which I know you would enjoy. And Star Wars, I'm sure we'll have coming up in May. I expect to see you there. So we have theme bingo, music bingo now. We got some new trivia themes we've never done before, like Ted Lasso for shows that we've been binging during the pandemic. But you can always check my schedule. It's SaritoEntertainment.com or SaritoBingo.com, SaritoTrivia.com. Type it in there and see what we got going on. So we got some holiday stuff happening, depending on when you are watching or listening to this. December is always a fun month for trivia. And bingo, let's go to May. Oh, Memphis in May was epic this year. Oh my goodness, I remember like, oh wow, it was something else. Was this the year Miley Cyrus came and performed with Mark Horn? Was that
man, that feels like it was a very long time ago.
Ages ago. Was this the year the Foo Fighters? Was this the year Foo Fighters? Oh wait, that's next year. That's
next year. Yes, next year.
We'll talk about that next week, because next week we will be previewing 2022.
Yes.
Here streaming next Monday night. So mark your calendars, plan your week around it. But there was no Memphis in May Music Fest or Barbecue Fest in 2020. That's 2 years in a row.
Yes, 2021 we did have Barbecue Fest, or they did have Barbecue Fest.
Barbecue Fest, but not Music Fest.
Pretty right. It was pretty locked down. It was not the same as usual. I did not even go. It was just, there was a limited number of people allowed. It kind of distilled, from what I hear, distilled it down to what it really is at the end of the day, which is a competition, which is why the official name is not Barbecue Fest. It's the World Championship Barbecue Cooking Contest. And that's really what it was this year. But next year they will be over in Midtown at the fairground.
It was one of those events where you could see it working in the pandemic, because Barbecue Fest is it's the smaller gatherings, right? So it's a bunch of small gatherings, but there is a lot of hopping in between the gatherings, and the large gatherings all in one place. It was like a lot of small parties, but they seemed to have pulled it off. It seemed to go by, and you didn't hear much of any type of any spread or anything coming from just the dry rub is all you heard about. But anyway, so that Barbecue Fest happened in May, and anything else?
May was a little bit
people started taking trips. This is when people started going out of town.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. People really started, feeling it out even more so and going out and doing the trips like you're saying. But May was kind of a weirdly quiet month. I think we should move on to June.
Let's get
And
to June. What was that weekend in June?
so I feel like there was like the first weekend in June. We talk about how people are filling things out, how people are getting out. And I don't even remember what all the events were. I remember writing this and I put this in my notes that like that first weekend in June, a lot of things that had been postponed were happening. There were festivals happening. Everybody was like, the weather was cooperating and everybody was ready to be out and about that first weekend in June. I remember feeling that was really strange because normally that weekend is what I usually call it, happens like around April 20th. And it was really interesting to have it pushed back to June. But that's definitely what happened. We're all adjusting. One thing, shout out Memphis tourism. Also in June started the Get Loud concert series, which was free concerts on Thursday nights all summer long. So that started off in June with the PJ Morton show. And then after that, it was St. Paul and the Broken Bones, and then a bunch of awesome bands. So I don't know if that's coming back next year or not, Kevin. Maybe I can find out by next week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, ooh, it'd be nice to know that for the 2022 preview. Heard lots of good things about the Get Loud. There was a balloon festival that I remember in June. Did you go to that?
I did go to that. Yeah, hot air balloon rides. There was like kind of a fair carnival situation. There was food, there was live music, and like the hot air balloons. They actually just announced today that they are coming back next year and they're making some big changes. So we'll have to talk about 2022 Balloon Fest next week. But yeah.
Well, so do they have hot wings at the hot air balloon? They get hot wings and hot air balloons is what it should be.
They should do that. We will notify them immediately and make sure they can accommodate that. But in June, I'll make this really quick. I did release the I Love Memphis Hot Wing Guide. And the only reason I wanted to bring it up is because I spent a really long time talking to a lot of people and working on this, like over a year, working on that Hot Wing Guide, because I really did not want to just put up a quick list or anything. I wanted to get down and dirty, find out where people wanted to have their Memphis hot wings. We're a barbecue town, but man, Memphis wings.
That guide was great. I remember, like, so far throughout this year, I mean, y'all done a fantastic job of putting together these lists of the patios. I know we got the dog-friendly patio list you can go find.
Yeah.
And the heated patio, like because we've always been like everybody likes the patios. Well, like patios are bigger than ever before. They're a necessity now. We need to know where we can go and what we can do on these patios. Is this patio covered? Does it have heaters? Can I bring my dog? There's so many questions about the patios.
That's true.
Some of them, are you inside of a bubble in the patio? You gotta find out. And your guides have been great over there at the I Love Memphis blog. So let's get to July now. So July, 4th of July, we're into it into the summer. For me, I will remember the battle at Black Lodge, which happened on the last day of July. 901 Wrestling finally returned live and in person. I'm, of course, the host of 901 Wrestling, and brand new venue, which is just an awesome place to see live wrestling and live concerts, lots of other events over there at Black Lodge in Crosstown. And Battle at Black Lodge happened on July 31st. There's since been a Battle of Black Lodge 2 and 3, and then Battle of Black Lodge 4 is coming your way on New Year's Day. Get your tickets now if you're looking for something to do on New Year's Day. Battle of Black Lodge 4 on New Year's Day. So that's what I remember from July. What else happened?
So I don't have the exact day, but I do remember it was in July. Whataburger announced they had already announced they were coming to the Memphis area and were making a couple locations, but they announced all of their locations, and none of them are like in the loop, or they're all around the outside of the city.
Which, yeah, it's for and you wonder, would there be one inside the loop if we would have just built that road through Overton Park? Would we be having a Whataburger there? If we had I-40 going straight to the city, I'd rather have them apart. We've got other burgers we can go to, but
It was
The
a big deal, though. It was a
huge
controversy.
deal. That's so that story, like by July, they announced more dates. This was like an ongoing story. The
Yeah.
rumors have always happened.
hmm
But it's for real now. Like Carterville, like the designs have been approved, right? Like this is happening. This is
Yeah,
going to
it's
be part of our 2022 preview. Like we're going to be eating Whataburger.
Some people might be. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's really far away from from my home base. Not really, but that's kind of the argument, and that was kind of the conversation and why it stuck out in my mind for July. I did tweet out earlier today. I put on a Google map where all the locations will be, and it's like they're like trying to protect the city or keep us in or keep us out or something. I don't know. It's just funny to see where they're putting the Whataburgers.
Yeah,
It doesn't really matter, but it's a funny image, and I will include that in the blog post if you are following along on there.
a deserving shout out. Let's go to for we're talking about fast food. Local fast food chain Abner's. It did start expanding in 2021. It was not in July. It was very late in the year, but they now have a location in Crosstown that's open, and in the old Poncho Starbucks on Poplar is now an Abner's as well, which is local chicken. I love their grilled chicken at Abner's is fantastic. I actually had Abner's for lunch today. But
Oh, I have to try their grilled chicken. I went and I was not familiar, and I ordered like a chicken tender taco, which was better.
that's a new menu thing for them. They're usually like your Raisin Cane's, Zaxby's type of idea, right? You get your chicken tender and your chicken finger and your slaw and your fries. They give you other options like baked potatoes. You can't go wrong with that. But the grilled is what they do better than those other the other people that I mentioned. Plus, it's local when you're going out to Abner's. I've not tried the taco yet. I saw they have a taco and they got something else. But anyway, Abner's expanding inside the loop, Holly. And
Yay.
giving more chicken finger options to folks.
Well, I like the local, and I'm definitely going to keep pushing the local even as we're talking about Whataburger, just because it's buzzy.
Because that's not the only burger restaurant either. The Wahlburgers Wild opened.
Yes, they did.
That is inside the loop. That is right there on the river, inside the pyramid.
I will say this about the Wahlburgers. I guess because that family has a reality show on TV. Mm-hmm. I don't know even what channel it's on. I'm sorry.
That family, Marky Mark's family.
Yeah, the Wahlbergs have a Wahlburger adjacent reality show, and that was also an extremely popular post that I made on Facebook.
Oh, that was huge. Yeah. With the announcement. That was the announcement post?
That was the announcement post when I said they were coming to the pyramid, just sort of like as a FYI to people. People are really excited about it. I have. I have.
Was it wild?
Nope.
I
wouldn't call it wild.
I'm very excited. Of course, it was supposed to open on Beale Street at some point, which is now where Ghost River is? Because Ghost River did open in July. As we go circle back, the Ghost River Tap Room that came out of nowhere. Location number 2 for Ghost River on Beale Street. Because you got the people in the suburbs going like, "Oh, there's Ghost River." They're the complete opposite of Whataburger here. They're only opening downtown, right? They got 2 locations, both in downtown. It looks awesome, and when we return to more of a normal time, hopefully, it seems like the perfect place for locals to go before and after events at FedEx Forum, because Beale Street is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
It's a great place to go, but is it going to be somewhere that you go regularly as a local before game and after game? Maybe that's usually the routine, but Ghost River, I think that's a good spot.
It's a great spot, and they've partnered with Flying Sobies, which is a food truck, and so they have awesome food. They do have burgers. They have Cornish game hens and waffles and all kind of good stuff. So it's like Flying Sobies together with Ghost River open on Beale Street, and they kind of have like this indoor-outdoor situation going on, which is important for us to know about. But yeah, so July was a lot of eating, I guess.
Well, you're saying you can hang out outside there is what you're saying?
Yeah, and they usually have live music and stuff outside too, like chill, like a guy with a guitar and stuff. So it's a good spot.
I can't wait to go check that out at some point. I've not been by there yet. In August, in August, we had the golf tournament. Did the golf tournament happen this year?
The golf tournament happened. It was lit. It was a big deal. I guess the golf tournament kind of evolves every year, and it was a really big deal. And I was there, and it was awesome. And I couldn't tell you any of the golfers that were there, and I'm just gonna be honest about that. But they were a big deal, and it was amazing. The setup at Southwind is awesome, and it continues to be really important that Memphis hosts that, and that also it is a fundraiser and a benefit for St. Jude. So, it used to be called the St. Jude FedEx Classic, and now it's the World Golf Championship. But FedEx and St. Jude are still involved in that. So 2 thumbs up for that event in August. It was hot, but it was great.
All around that time, the bridge reopened. The Hernando de Soto Bridge reopened in August. When did it shut down? This might be the most memorable moment of the year here. So we look back at the fact that all of the stuff that we have just talked about happened, the majority of it, not all of it, but so much of it happened without the ability to easily drive over to the casino before or after any of this stuff happened. You just couldn't do it. You couldn't drive over to Southland. The bridge did reopen in August.
I mean,
August. I was closed at Barbecue Fest. I know that. So April. Was it April?
It closed on, I can tell you, May 11th.
May 11th.
The bridge, the Memphis, Arkansas connector bridge, the Hernando de Soto Bridge closed on May 11th and was closed until August. I mean, it was such a huge deal. I was like kind of eclipses. Like you said, we've talked about all these different things. All those things were going on while people were doing these crazy reroutes around to get across the Mississippi River in other ways, adding on an hour to their trip, adding on 45 minutes to their trip. We all saw pictures of the big crack in the bridge. We were all horrified.
Right.
It was a lot. Honestly, it was so much. I remember seeing the initial reports and being like,
who missed
what?
The bridge has got to be. That was a long moment. If we're talking moment of the year, going from April to August. I recall. So I think it's June. I started hosting music bingo at Grind City Brewing Company. Awesome spot. If nobody's been out there yet. Great place to see the sunset. You had a great view of the Wahlburgers Wild from there. Yes. And I remember I started in June. The bridge was closed the entire time. It was like a big deal. Like the light show was still going on, right? They still do the light show.
Yeah.
On the bridge. But like the first night, I was like, this is the first night that there's actually cars over there. Like it felt like, it was here for months. And like finally there's actually cars on that bridge that I can see at Grand City. But that's a huge deal. And so perfect timing, because then the convention center opened also in August, the brand new Renaissance Convention Center.
Yes. So formerly the Cook Convention Center, now the Renaissance Bank Convention Center, reopened sort of in phases throughout the summer, but August was the time. Like Memphis Tourism hosted a big block party for the opening. The place looks so much better. I know Memphians, like locals, don't really have a ton of reason to go to the convention center. It's, it's for people that are having conventions and traveling here. But if you do go to an event there, or if you have a chance to like peek in the windows, it is so much better. It's like 200 million billion times better than it used to be. It's kind of like, it's like night and day with the new renovations. So I'm not just saying that, like it is genuinely a whole different experience. So that happened in August.
And that's good news, good timing, because we'll talk about next week the big remodel that's finally going to debut in early 2022. This will hopefully complement that. And yes, as a local, you don't go in there very often, but it definitely needed an upgrade. It was very much like the airport. But driving by, you can tell when you drive by. If you do ever drive by under that tunnel, if you're like ever doing your you're like, hey, let's go look at the firm filming locations, and you're driving by over there by Mud Island, like the zoo ad is down, and we've got it just looks modernized from the outside. So I can only imagine what it looks like inside. I'm sure I'll get to check that out at some point. So September, so that's a big opening. That was a big deal, and then it's going to have long-term impact for our community. In September, back to school time.
Yep.
Some kids wore masks, some didn't, but we the back to school time will avoid the mask debate. What happened in September?
September was kind of quiet, not gonna lie. It was. I think that was because of everyone focused on back to school and getting back in the groove. But Cooper Young Fest, after having been gone for a year, did come back with some controversy, some changes, but it happened. You know, it's the largest one-day festival in our entire state, and it was gone for a year. And I know that was a major impact on.
It's the largest one-day festival in the state of Tennessee.
Mm-hmm. In terms of number of people that come, which is like 100,000 people or something insane like that.
Because it happened, like Germantown Festival, also usually in September, that got canceled. There were other similar festivals getting canceled because we're still the uncertainty of the year, the excitement of things returning to the way they were in 2019 and before.
Yeah,
some things did and some things didn't. And Cooper Young Fest, they went ahead, and it seemed to go okay, huh?
It seemed to go okay. You know, it kind of started off a modified but still present fall festival season. And like I said, September was kind of quiet, so I'm going to ease into October here. And where we did have some of our favorite festivals and events come back. Mempho Music Festival was the first weekend in October. I am pretty sure that they required a vaccination card or a negative test. Memphis Food and Wine Festival also happened in October, and the St. Jude Ironman Triathlon, which is, I know you'll be shocked to learn, not something I participate in, but something that is a big deal for Memphis, actually. All those things that had kind of been either postponed, pushed back, or canceled for a year, they all came back, and some of them are my favorite things in Memphis. You know, Cooper Young Beer Fest, all those things kind of came back with some modifications in October. So it was a fun time, and it was like kind of a special time because it wasn't quite back to normal, but it was a good, familiar Memphis loving kind of feeling.
Yeah, if we look at where we were, and there was a lot of things like we assumed everything would be back to normal. So October was one of those months that was planned out. Like people were saying back in the summer, like, oh, come October, we'll be ready to go. So a lot of these festivals were on the books. And so they kind of carried through, like, how can we do it? Some of them required vaccination. Someone said, well, we're outside. We'll figure out the proper social distancing for the event. And so a lot of them carried on instead of getting canceled. But also October was the month, or in September, I'm sorry, we said slow month in September. That was when the St. Jude physician assistant and cancer survivor Lee Haley went into space. So that was this big space month. That was really your big September story. And October, back to some festivals. November, outside of Hog and Hominy, a reopening, which was, when would the fire happen during the pandemic? So was that a 2020 fire?
So I think the fire actually happened right before the pandemic, I think. For whatever reason, actually, I have some thoughts on why Hog and Hominy reopening was such a big deal. I will not go into them here. I have an article I've been working on about it.
Okay. Ooh.
Hog and Hominy is important to, like, I don't know, the food scene in Memphis, East Memphis, whatever. Anyways, so it was a big deal. People had a really hard time getting a reservation. People were calling like 120 times. I don't know why, but they shared that information. So that was something that sticks out to me. But there were a lot of other things that happened in November that I think sort of eclipse and take precedent over any restaurant opening, unfortunately.
I think that day, November 17th, was the day that the unfortunate murder of young Dolph happened on November 17th. And then this is a day that the Memphians you're just not going to forget. You're not going to forget. Young Dolph getting shot. And then later on that day, there was also an earthquake in Memphis that some people felt, some people did not. feel. I did not feel. I was at Celtic Crossing hosting trivia where I'm at every Wednesday night at 7. And I don't know what it was, but I did not feel anything. Nobody there felt anything, but people in the neighborhood told me that they did over there in Cooper Young. So, Holly, did you feel the earthquake?
No, I was right there over in the same neighborhood. I didn't feel it. I don't know why, but some people did. But it was definitely kind of not an out of body experience for that whole day, but definitely it was a moment where I kind of kept asking myself, like, is this real? Is this really happening? Like, this is, it's heartbreaking. Young Dolph is a Memphis hip hop legend for so many years and had so many years ahead of him. And so that was a really hard day. And, to this day, people are still kind of have turned like the site of his shooting into a memorial. And so then there was an earthquake. I mean, it was an earth-shattering day. It was really strange and poignant in some kind of way to have those both happen on November 17th. And I agree with you that I don't think people are going to forget it ever, really. I'm not going to.
They're not. That same week also, of note, we mentioned Pancho's cheese dip earlier, but Pancho's Memphis institution.
Yeah.
It is in the DNA, like literally in folks' DNA. And it sold that same week. Pancho's cheese dip announced that they were selling to someone out of state. This came just right after the confusion on whether or not the restaurants were going to close or not.
Yeah.
That was also news in November. Also news of the year. How would you rank the Pancho's restaurant? You have your Pancho restaurant review.
Do we speak ill of the dead here? We don't. No.
We don't. The cheese dip is great. And do we know? What do you know about the future? Is it still going to be? They're still committed to Memphis and making the Pancho's cheese dip where they make it and keeping it a Memphis thing.
I think they're going to keep the recipe. I think the people who bought it, which is like some big company that like makes cheese dips, they have other cheese dip brands in their business portfolio that they presumably haven't changed or are distinguished from one another. So I think they have no reason to like change the actual dip, because this is the thing that's interesting to me too about Pancho's cheese dip is like Memphians are very like, this is ours. Like I know Memphians that have the Pancho's man tattooed on their bodies. Like, I mean, this is like a whole thing. And yes, it did start in West Memphis and it is a Memphis thing. And we do have the restaurants here, but Pancho's has been available nationwide for a while. Actually, it's
you can't get it everywhere. You can't get it everywhere. You can't get it everywhere. There's people who you can't get it. But it was, yes, throughout the Southeast.
I think it's everywhere in certain grocery stores though.
Well, now, they've done the expansion of the cheese dip, but I mean, it was like the start of here. Like Gus's is our thing, but now you can go to Gus's in LA and you name the place. You can probably find a Gus's fried chicken.
Right.
But yeah, it is a very. But now it's not as much anymore. This is like I don't know how we're going to adjust to it. Holly, on the radio, we did 40 minutes on when Pancho's changed their design. If you recall, it was you, me, and Greg Akers talking for forever about how big of a mistake it was. It was obviously leading to this moment. A lot of speculation at that time. Like, does this mean? What does this mean for their expansion? What does it mean? And they decided to selling the restaurants made sense. Like, well, focus on the cheese dip. That's what your bread and butter is. And there's like some other like the fast food chain. I've never eaten there, but as I travel across the southern United States, do you ever go to Milo's?
No.
You ever heard of mine? Like, they got like sweet tea. Like you can get like the sweet tea in the grocery store.
Oh, the sweet tea people. Okay, no, I know Milo's.
It's actually a fast food restaurant, but we think of it as the sweet tea place because that's what they're apparently that's their bread and butter. So I wouldn't be surprised if Milo's decides to go to Pancho's restaurant. But yeah, anyway, so Pancho, but that's not real fast though. On some non-related November, like Mexican. Did Maciel's in Cooper Young open this year? Because I know the Margaritas restaurant did, and there's continuing to be more and more Mexican options just on one little stretch in the city there in the Cooper Young neighborhood. And that taco truck that just opened has exploded with multiple locations as well, and it's like one of the most. It's going to carry that torch, I guess, for Mexican food here in Memphis.
That is an interesting timing of Poncho's kind of closing at the same time the taco truck Tacanganas, which is like kind of a weird word to say because it's a couple of different Spanish words put together, but it's like tacos con ganas, tacanganas. Anyways, I worked really hard on that, so hope
Good.
you enjoy the pronunciation.
I
But yeah,
appreciate it.
Taco Truck has now like 4 locations. They just opened one at Cooper and Central in the lot. They have the tacos that you dip in the broth and the consomme. Some people call them the tacos birrias tacos, whatever. Whatever you call it, however you pronounce it, they truly are amazing. And so I'm kind of like, you're right. They did maybe Ponchos, which is a totally different thing.
It's different. Yeah, I mean,
Well,
the cheese dip, because you also have Arbo's. When did Arbo's come out? Was that this year or
this
last?
year. That was this year. I'm pretty sure.
So Arbo's the new local cheese dip. Like, what
Yeah.
did they know? What did they know? When did they know? When did they know?
Maybe they knew something. Maybe they. Nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know.
Nearly as many locations as the Ponchos, but Arbo's is good. I like it. It is spicier than Ponchos. Definitely
We'll
spicy.
get there. I mean, we still have Tom's Tiny Kitchen. I don't know if they're still doing their dip or if they're. I know they had dip for a while. They're sticking with their pimento, but I think we're gonna be okay. Maybe
They might come back around. Yeah, because I remember when they came out. Like, what are you coming out with that? What are you coming out with that for? Memphis?
It was good.
It was good. No, it was fantastic. All of their stuff was all the pimento cheese and all this stuff was good, but it was like, you're coming, you're competing with a tough thing to take down. So December, let's go to December.
All right. So
now we are in December.
I know. It feels like this year has gone by quickly, both in reality and as we have discussed it. Memphis, University of Memphis, my alma mater.
Me too.
Got designation for being an amazing research institution. It's an R1 designation. I don't know what it means, but apparently it's a really big deal, and that's awesome. I know that University of Memphis has worked really hard, and I've seen them like do a lot of different things and invest a lot in all of their research and all of their high-level academic programs. And, they're not Tiger High anymore. Okay. We're R1 designation now. So, several people commented on that when I asked what was going on this year and, what people remember from this year. JM Tigers 1974. Thank you for being the first to mention this particular one about the University of Memphis, me and Kevin's alma mater.
Yes, and that's not the only big Memphis news this week that I think we'll remember out of this year. The game that never happened over the weekend. I'm going to talk about some recent stuff here in December. Memphis, the University of Memphis Tigers versus the University of Tennessee Volunteers was to take place in Nashville. It's going to be the last meeting between these two teams for a long time, because the coach over in Knoxville does not like Penny Hardaway because he replaced his buddy Tubby Smith. So he doesn't want to play Memphis anymore. So this is going to be the last time they met on the court. Memphis had somewhat of momentum. They just beat a ranked Alabama team. And we go into this and find out multiple members of the Tigers have COVID.
Right.
The majority of the team does not have the vaccine. That's going to continue to be the conversation on Sports Talk Radio this week, and we'll see if they get it could just be the start of a bunch of canceled games for the Tigers if they don't turn it around and get vaccinated. But a big story because so many folks drove from Memphis to Nashville for this game, and because it's canceled 60 to 70 minutes before tip, so you're out trying your best to socially distance tailgate on Broadway in downtown Nashville, and
is that possible? Like, I don't even know, but
probably not. Like, from the pictures we've seen, the most pictures I have seen during the pandemic of, can you believe this crowd during the pandemic seemed to come to Broadway in Nashville. But you're there and you find out from word of mouth in this game getting canceled. I mean, you used your gas money, you got the hotel. Hopefully you could probably still have a good time in Nashville, but it is still a pandemic, so it is a little bit more challenging than before. You're like, oh, well, I got free time in Nashville, I'll go do this or this. But anyway, definitely would be memorable. That story's still playing out right now. Not a moment anybody wanted to happen or really will want to remember, but the fact that it's the last game in that series of basketball games that we once saw 1 versus 2 on the cover of Sports Illustrated, this is big. This is a big deal. Something we will remember going forward for sure. So that's December. We also had the Ford plant was announced this year, but it doesn't have Memphis in the name anymore.
Yeah.
But it is going to be huge. Ford's going to be making electric cars here in this side of the state. And that pretty much Memphis can claim it's a big mega site that's coming here. It's going to bring lots of jobs, and Ford does not have many of these.
Right.
So that's going to be a big deal. What else? Anything else happened that we might have missed through the calendar rundown here?
Yeah, a couple of other things I wanted to just throw out, and some of them are just little personal things that I noticed quickly. Well, first of all, Tom Lee Park is under renovation. They actually broke ground in December of 2020, so technically not part of 2021, but that construction has been going on all year long. So it's really more of a 2021 event. So Tom Lee Park is going to be totally different by the time they reopen in, I don't know, 50 to 60 years or whatever that's going to be. One thing that never changes every year, and 2021 was no exception, is that people ask me where to get deep dish pizza in Memphis all the time. Like all of the time, like every single day, someone asked me where to get deep dish pizza in Memphis. So
and you say,
don't get it. We don't
get
have
that thin crust Memphis Pizza Cafe pizza.
Get
Snack it.
Yeah, something else. I just think it's funny that when I was thinking about this year, I was like, yeah, they keep asking me about that deep dish. Maybe someone will start making it. I don't know, but maybe that's a question for next week's 2022 look ahead. I always talk about the Wolf River Greenway whenever we do these recaps, just because it's one of my favorite things in Memphis. They opened a ton of new sections. So the Greenway goes through the city of Memphis. It's kind of connected to the Shelby Farms Green Line. They opened a bunch of new sections. Everyone complained about that one commercial that airs during Grizzlies games that has sort of like the country-ish, Nashville-ish sounding song. At the time, it was a Memphis band. Stop complaining. I'll link to all these things in the blog post. But if you're on Memphis Twitter, you probably know what I'm talking about. So let's see. What else? I mean, we had some really big moments this year, from, the tragedy of young Dolph, from the earthquake happening on the same day, from our bridge being cracked into basically for many months and then being reopened, to the Memphian of the year, our delicious water, right, and all of its trials and tribulations throughout the year, being frozen, attempted contamination, boiled.
The burger announcement, potatoes in the mail. It's hard to declare an official moment. And I think we should take this to a poll on Twitter.
Yeah.
And we have to do a bracket. We have to do 2 different polls and then have the winners go head to head or something. Because I think we've got like 8 different things that could possibly be on here. Yeah. And we have to narrow it down. Because I do think some of these you may not think could win. I don't know if we can truly declare that. Yes, we declared the Memphian of the year and the photo of the year, but those are very obvious. Choices there. So we're going to take to social media. You can, of course, follow me at Sarita, Holly at I Love Memphis, and we're going to do a vote, Twitter poll coming your way. We'll get it online immediately following the live stream tonight. Of course, you can be watching this anywhere or listening to it on the old I Love Memphis podcast feed. Or on the Sarita Entertainment channel, SaritaEntertainment.com. You can find the links on. We're on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and also on Facebook. But I prefer you watch it somewhere else if you can. Try to find it somewhere else. Yeah. There's one more thing that is about to happen here. And have you heard about this big thing from December of 2021? It was a big announcement in 2021, Holly. What huge announcement! But so big. But there's going to be a new podcast.
Yay!
What is this about? A new podcast? What? Let's see.
Podcast. An old, new, old. Everything old is new again. Yes.
Let's take this moment to announce Talking in Memphis is coming your Greenway officially starting now, talking in Memphis. We are here, your new regular podcast. Holly, I have missed talking with you, of course. It's so many, this is maybe the, I don't know, third version of this or what, but we hosted the I Love Memphis podcast together. You were on my radio show
Yes.
for many, many years. And it was also part of that podcast feed where we would talk in general about Memphis-y things and what's going on. Obviously, we would do this segment where we recap the year and preview the year, and that's what we're going to be doing next week. But we're going to get back to doing this on more of a regular basis. And let's be honest, it's easier to do now with my setup.
Yes.
And with just the way that the world is, everybody's Zooming and all of that. So we will be at least once a month on a Monday live streaming something. If something comes up that it is deserving of a emergency podcast, we'll jump in and do that and cover that topic. But I'm excited about this. I'm excited to be getting back and talking in Memphis with you. It's kind of a spinoff of Matching in Memphis, the game show that I debuted here during the pandemic. And of course, the pandemic is always going to be going on, I think. But we'll see how long talking in Memphis goes on. Yeah. It's going on now, and it's going to be happening next week, Holly. I'm very excited to get back and talking in Memphis about Memphis with you on a regular basis.
Me too. I don't even know sometimes how to process some of this stuff that's happening in Memphis. I'm like, we used to talk about this like once a month on the radio. I would like save up all my hot and lukewarm takes to like discuss with you and Greg. And like now I've just been so lost. So genuinely though, people still ask me like, what about your podcast? Like, can I be on your podcast? And I'm like, we haven't really been doing that in that way for a couple years now. Right. Just because we've been busy and you've been building your entertainment empire and I've been redoing the website.
Watching it crumble before my very eyes.
Crumble and rebuilding again like a phoenix from the ashes. So no, I'm really excited for talking to Memphis. I think it's going to be really fun. And like you said, it's like it's more relaxed and casual and easier to do now. We're not like, I think we started recording like in a tiny room at the University of Memphis or something like many years ago. So to see it come all this way and get to talk again about Memphis every month is going to be awesome. So just, follow you at Sarita. Follow me at I Love Memphis. That's on Twitter. And you can just search for us on the other social medias. We're easy to find, and it's going to be a really great year. And then we're going to get to talk about it.
Well, we'll give you more information as we get closer, but talk about where it's here. It's here now. This is officially, I guess, the call in the industry, the backdoor pilot. This is the official first episode of Talking in Memphis. We'll be back next week to preview 2022. But and we'll announce, I guess we'll see the poll winners on social media, but we can talk about that at the top next week. We'll get a poll out. Holly, we got to narrow these down to 8. I guess I think we kind of got them. The snow, vaccines, Whataburger, bridge, earthquake in young Dolph, potatoes.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 more to get to that 8 number. Maybe it's 2 polls of 6 and the 2 winners going head to head in the final vote. But thanks all of y'all for tuning in for this special premiere episode of Talking in Memphis. And we will be back next week live streaming right here next Monday night to preview the upcoming year. Tell your friends and thank you for listening. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas, everybody. And Holly, any final words from you?
Just happy holidays. Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays, yeah. Stay
loving Memphis. Like, we're going to get through whatever weirdness happens next year together, and it's going to be great. It's going to be Memphis. It's going to be great.
I'll see y'all next week. We'll talk some more here in Memphis.